From a colossal flower temple to some major feats of engineering, here are 11 of the most unusual buildings on the planet. Lotus Temple. Called once by CNN as the most visited building in the world, the Lotus Temple is located in Delhi, India. It was made as a space of worship for the Baha'í faith, which is a practice of accepting the holiness endemic to all religions. The architect Furiburz Sabha chose the lotus as the symbol common to Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Islam. At a cost of about $10 million, it received about 10,000 visitors daily. Not sure about now with the virus and all that. Because of this, the Lotus Temple welcomes people from all faiths to worship freely within its corridors. The structure itself shares many similarities with other Baha'í temples, such as a 9-sided circular structure. But its most striking feature is its exterior, which looks like a blooming lotus flower constructed from solid marble petals forming a 9-sided flower. Architects inclined this building to combine the beauty of an Indian style and a place that reflects peace and union. The idea of its structure was based on a lotus flower floating in water. Each petal took more than 48 hours to make, and its construction ended in December of 1986. No pictures are framed inside, leaving the viewer to gaze at the beauty around them undisturbed. Both inside and out, the Lotus Temple is an amazing place to find peace. Cube House. Okay, so maybe the shape of the lotus is too fancy for you. You're a simple person and you just want to live in a cube. 4 walls, a floor, and a ceiling. That's all you need. But would you ever want to live in a cube tilted at 55 degrees? If yes, then the cube houses in Rotterdam, Netherlands are just for you. The section of cube houses in Rotterdam are supported above the ground and tilted at an extreme angle, and they've been forcing passers-by to stop and take a look since their initial construction in the 1970s. But these houses were not constructed on the basis of novelty alone. Rather, they were built to house people over the lower, busy Black Street. Some of these homes even sit above a walking bridge. You can actually live in one of these cube homes yourself, but it's going to be tricky. Of the approximately 1,000 square feet available, only around 250 of those are habitable. However, if you already really want to live on a different cube, then you may not care all that much. Would you like to live in one of these cube houses? Let me know in the comments below. The Crooked House. Some images are hard to believe, but let me assure you, your eyes are not deceiving you. This house is like a children's book come to life. Even though tourists sometimes fear going inside this strange contorted structure, the shape of the Crooked House is not an optical illusion. It was literally built that way, and there's nothing to fear by going inside either unless you're afraid of shopping. The so-called Crooked House is a member of the Resident Shopping Center in Sopot, Poland. The Crooked House was designed and built in 2004 by Zotinski and Zelensky, and it was influenced by Polish fairy tales, giving it a certain cartoonish vibe. It's meant to be happy and playful, as if it were bouncing up and down to some music. Inside, you can see distorted drawings on the walls and some geometrical shapes all over the place, which help immerse you into the experience. Truth be told, the Crooked House should really be seen at night, when its curves come to life and the light animates its exterior. So don't be shy, feel free to walk right up and enjoy what it has to offer. Atomium. Some countries have buildings which are representative of the country from which they originate themselves. For example, the Eiffel Tower, the Great Wall of China, the Taj Mahal, or the Sydney Opera House. And Belgians built a giant structure called Atomium, built for the Brussels World Fair in 1958. They may not have meant for the Atomium to become such an integral symbol of their culture, but even well after the 1958 exhibition, the structure remained standing. This architectural design speaks to the obsession with atomic theory that permeated international culture within the 1950s. The Atomium is made out of solid steel arranged into the figure of some particular allotropes of iron. It is 165 billion times larger than a real iron atom, and except for 3 of its spheres, you can enter each and eat a meal, see an art show, and more. This makes the Atomium one of the strangest multi-purpose buildings in the world. If you want to get into the Atomium, you have to use many stairs, but it's up to you if you prefer using electric stairs or an elevator, which makes this place an experience for everyone. And when you are leaving the building, you pass through a museum with images and all the story of this gigantic atom. Sutyagin House. In Arkhangelsk, Russia, it gets cold and maybe even a little bit desolate. That might be why Petrovich Sutyagin turned to crime. But it isn't quite Sutyagin's infamy for the illegal that earns him a spot on this list. Rather, he is responsible for what many thought was the tallest wooden house on the planet. Now referred to as Gangster House due to Sutyagin's penchant for crime, Sutyagin built this gigantic wooden structure as his dream house. He began construction in 1992, and initially the building was only 2 floors tall, but that was not enough to satisfy Sutyagin, so he built another, and another, and then another, and so on, always feeling like his home was not yet complete. Finally, after building 13 floors, he felt that he could call it a day. Given its placement in the middle of the snowy fishing town of Arkhangelsk, it looks straight out of some Russian novel. Its silhouette towers over the landscape. Alas, although built, the top 8 floors were never finished. Sutyagin got put in the slammer on racketeering charges. It was demolished in 2008. And finally in 2008, after trying to keep it legally on 3 floors, it was demolished. Not only because Sutyagin didn't follow the law rules of having a 2 floors house, but because it was considered a fire hazard for all the locals. Stay in school, kids. Maybe you'll get to build your dream house and keep it standing. National Center for the Performing Arts. The National Center for the Performing Arts, NCPA, is one of the most iconic and recognizable buildings in all of China. Located in Beijing and originally constructed for the National Olympics, the NCPA definitely has an appeal in its own right. It is right in the middle of the fray in downtown Beijing, next to Tiananmen Square and the Great Hall of the People. It is home to a number of facilities, including various halls for opera, theater, and musical performances. But if its placement and diversity of entertainment offerings weren't enough to draw you in, then surely the style of this building will do so. It is jokingly referred to as the Egg by locals, and that moniker is not surprising. It looks an awful lot like an egg submerged into the surrounding pools of water. You get into the NCPA by walking down a long unseen underpass, leaving the exterior simple and clean. Have you ever been to the NCPA? Let us know in the comments below. National Library of Belarus. This building is going to blow your mind. With 73.67 meters high, the building itself is a total architectural masterpiece. Why? Well, the upper levels of the National Library of Belarus are a gigantic rhombicuboctahedron. This is how you call a shape with 18 squares and 8 triangle faces. The fact that it bears this structure makes it one of the most unusually shaped libraries in the world. In its primary room, the library itself is 236 feet high, and it needs that space in order to house the number of books and other pieces of media it contains, approximately 8,600,000. Having over 70,000 manuscripts and early printed books, more than 3 million copies of magazines from the early 19th century and up to present day, and many other graphic documents, printed music, audiovisual documents, and maps. At night, the library turns into a glowing orb in the sky that can be seen from miles away. In recent years, there was a park constructed around the library as well, so you can go there and enjoy the show, or go inside and walk around all the material that this library offers. After all, who doesn't want to be in a rhombicuboctahedron? Taum Sauk Hydroelectric Power Station. Our next entry may strike you as a giant pool. If that's what you guessed, you wouldn't be in the entirely wrong ballpark. In fact, this strange building is a hydroelectric power station called Taum Sauk, located in the southeastern region of Missouri. Aside from its strange shape, Taum Sauk has another distinguishing feature. It is located approximately 50 miles away from the nearest body of water, the Mississippi River. You can find many pumped storage stations, but Taum Sauk is the only one so far away from a source, and it is the first of its kind. Built in 1963, the plant once had to shut down because of a mechanical failure that released a 40 million cubic meters of water down the Black River, injuring the park overseer's children. After 4 years, however, it was put back into operation with safety measures now in place, and it is certainly an impressive architectural feat. Not only is it impressive from an engineering standpoint, but it looks like a pool. It's just downright cool. Hallgrímskirkja Church. There's plenty to do in Reykjavik, but if you're ever in the area, you can see the following church's steeple from nearly every spot in the city. That immense size is part of what makes the Hallgrímskirkja Church such a local landmark, but that impression only increases when you see it up close and personally. Johan Samuelsson, the church's architect, said that he was inspired by the volcanic and glacial structures in the Icelandic countryside, but because of this, it ends up looking like somewhere a Viking would have worshipped. The church has a number of insane features. For instance, it has a 25-ton organ, which required a separate construction unto itself. In front of the structure is a statue of Leifur Eriksson, the man who many believe to be the first European to ever land on American soil. So don't forget to go to a service inside of this magnificent church when you visit Iceland. The bellowing organ notes reverberating through its enormous halls are just a glorious experience to listen to. What's the biggest temple you've ever visited? Let me know in the comments below. Nautilus House. In Mexico City, there is a structure known as Nautilus House. In 2007, it was built by architect Javier Senosian, who based the project on the idea of organic architecture, a philosophy of architecture based on harmony between human habitation and the natural world. In 2006, a family with 2 children were tired of living in the crowded city center, and they decided to pay someone to design a new house for them. The architect planned all the construction outside the city center, building this house with no doors inside. This display of bioarchitecture pays tribute to the owner's favorite mollusk, the nautilus. From afar, it would be difficult to tell this house apart from a mollusk. There isn't that much space on the interior, but the design makes up for that lack. Every location inside and outside the house has a particularly organic energy. Using special building techniques, Senosian was able to create curved, spiraled spaces evocative of nature. Throw in some stained glass, flowery couches, and you've got yourself one for the ages. Mind House. Outside of Valcarce in Barcelona, Parc Güell contains a number of astonishing pieces of architecture, but its most interesting features are directly at its gates. In 1900, Güell commissioned the work of famous architect Anton Gaudí for the park, and the results did not disappoint. The entrance to Parc Güell is flanked by 2 houses that are seemingly made out of giant gingerbread, one with a toadstool on top and the other with a cross. The latter house is one of the most beloved buildings in the world. Known as Mind House, it is a tribute to the creativity of Gaudí. It is 3 floors tall. The roof bears a number of studs and displays a checkerboard pattern of black and white, and the house's exterior resembles gingerbread. Truly, it looks like something taken out of a fantasy story. Originally intended as a place of residence, it is now home to a gallery of Gaudí's work. If you're ever in Barcelona, you definitely don't want to miss Mind House. Thanks for watching. Have you ever been to any of these buildings? Would you like to visit some of them? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and click that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our newest videos. See you next time.